So we were looking at NPSH required and NPSH available. So NPSH required is nothing but the NPSH value provided by the supplier or the manufacturer. Okay, it depends on the pump design, speed of the pump and capacity of the pump. Okay, NPSH required, which is given by the supplier or manufacturer. And NPSH available is nothing but after taking it from the supplier, the customer is bringing that pump to its site. Okay, and he is installing that pump at his site and checking whether that NPSH available, NPSH given by the supplier or manufacturer, whether it is meeting that or not. Okay, so he is doing all the installation, and if that NPSH value, by doing this calculation, if it is coming greater than this NPSH required value, then the customer is satisfied that pump is okay according to customer. So NPSH available is nothing but it is the customer requirement, and NPSH required is nothing but it is the supplier requirement. Okay, so generally in most of the cases your NPSH available is well above the NPSH required. Okay, and that's why there is no any problem. So supplier are taking care that NPSH required is coming less than NPSH available. So one more method to find the NPSH, okay, is determined by Thomas cavitation factor. Okay, this is given by scientist Thomas, okay, who has calculated a factor that is called as the cavitation factor, and by calculating this factor you can predict whether cavitation will occur or not. Okay, so this is a factor given for prediction of cavitation. Okay, so if you see in this formula, the mathematical expression for Thomas cavitation factor for centrifugal pump, it is sigma, which is the it is denoted by sigma, which is equal to NPSH upon H. So Thomas have given the relation between the net positive suction head and the manometric head HM. So the factor takes care of the ratio of NPSH to the manometric head. Okay, so this value of Thomas cavitation factor, it is compared with critical cavitation factor. What do you mean by critical cavitation factor? Again, it is a formula given by Thomas only, but it is critical. Critical means when you are having maximum suction lift, means your NPSH is minimum. When your suction lift is maximum, that means your NPSH value is critical value. Okay, so it is the least value of NPSH, but the critical cavitation factor is calculated by using another method. Okay, that is given by sigma c is equal to 0.103 into ns upon 1000 raised to 4 by 3. This is some empirical relation. Empirical relation means after doing lot of experimentation, the value of sigma c is calculated by using this formula, which involves the specific speed, and the specific speed for a pump is given by n root q upon hm raised to 3 by 4. How it comes, that we will see in the next part of the centrifugal pump. But for the time being, you remember that this critical cavitation factor is nothing but it is the Thomas critical cavitation factor, and sigma, it is the actual cavitation factor. Okay, so actual cavitation factor should always greater than the critical cavitation factor. So NPSH upon HM should be greater than NPSH minimum upon HM. So sigma c is also given by NPSH minimum upon HM. So sigma c is calculated by using this formula. Okay, 1.03 into 10 raised to minus 3 into ns raised to 4 by 3. So putting the value of ns for that particular pump, you will calculate the specific speed, you calculate sigma c from this specific speed, and you compare the sigma c with the actual sigma, and if the actual sigma is coming greater than sigma c, then your pump is safe. Otherwise it is in the you can say it is in danger zone, or damage may occur because of cavitation. Let us see one example for demonstration. A centrifugal pump rotating at 1000 rpm delivers 160 liter of water per second against a head of 30 meter. The pump is installed at a place where atmospheric pressure is 1 into 10 raised to 5 Pascal absolute, and vapor pressure of water is 3 kilopascal absolute. Okay, so it is 0.03 bar, okay, or 3 kilopascal. So the head loss in the suction pipe is equivalent to 0.2 meter of water. So HF is given. Calculate minimum NPSH and maximum allowable height of the pump from free surface of water in the sump. So let us write given data. RPM is given 1000 RPM. Discharge is given as 160 liter per second. Okay, so it is 0.16 meter cube per second. Manometric head is given as 30 meter. So the pressure is also given, atmospheric pressure as 1 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per meter square. The vapor pressure is given as 3 into 10 raised to 3 Newton per meter square, absolute pressure. Okay, so it is given in Newton per meter square. HFS is given as 0.2 meter, that is a friction loss. Then you have to calculate minimum NPSH, means you have to calculate the critical cavitation factor. So you know by Thomas cavitation factor, sigma is equal to NPSH upon HM. So from this above equation, it is clear that NPSH is directly proportional to Thomas cavitation factor. So NPSH will be minimum when sigma is minimum, but the minimum value of sigma for no cavitation is sigma c, that is the critical value. So sigma c is nothing but the critical cavitation factor, where NPSH minimum upon HM, that is manometric rate. So NPSH minimum will be given by the formula sigma c into HM. So HM is given, it is 30 meter. Our aim is to find sigma c, and I have given you that sigma c is calculated from the empirical relation 1.03 into 10 raised to minus 3 into ns raised to 4 by 3. So if you put the value of sigma c, value of ns in this equation, you will get value of sigma c. But how will you calculate ns? To calculate ns, you should, for the timing, you should remember this formula, n root q upon hm raised to 3 by 4. If you put the value of q as 0.16 meter cube per second and n as 1000 rpm, hm as 30, you will get ns. So ns value is coming as this one, 1000 into 0.16, under root 0.16 upon 30 raised to 3 by 4. They have directly taken this value, and putting this value, you are getting sigma critical as 0.1012. So NPSH minimum is equal to HM into 0.1012, which is 3.036 meter. So this is the minimum value of NPSH. If you go below this value, then there will be cavitation phenomenon. So what is the maximum allowable height of the pump from free surface? So corresponding to this NPSH minimum, there will be maximum height. So you know NPSH is calculated by using the formula. If you remember the formula for NPSH, okay, the general formula for maximum height was HA minus HV minus VA square by 2G minus HFS. So it is nothing but HA minus HV minus VA square by 2G minus HFS. So HS is the maximum height. So the same formula we are going to use for calculating HS. So here it is HS. Okay, so HS will come to this side. So it will be HA minus HV minus NPSH minus HFS. Okay, so here NPSH minimum is equal to HA minus HV minus HS maximum minus HFS. So HS maximum will be equal to HA minus HV minus HFS minus NPSH minimum. Okay, so this is the formula for maximum suction lift. That is HS maximum will be equal to 10.193 minus 0.305 minus 0.2 minus 3.036. So it will be coming as 6.652 meter. So I know this will be somewhat confusing for you, but if you understand the concept clearly, then you will come to know. Okay, because we have found already the expression for NPSH. If you remember the expression for NPSH in this formula, this was the expression for NPSH. Okay, which was HA minus VN by 2G minus HS minus HF minus PV by rho G. The same formula we have used there. Okay, it is HA minus HS minus HF minus HV. Okay, for calculating NPSH. Okay, V1 it is not given, so it is not taken here. So it is HA minus HS minus HF minus HV. So if you see, it is HA minus HS minus HFS minus HV. So NPSH formula. So you have to remember this formula and then use accordingly. So the maximum height of that pump will be coming as 6.652. So you should not cross this height. If you cross this height, then your pump will have cavitation. Okay, so you can't keep your pump at a height of 7 meter. Okay, from the ground level or from the sump level. So you should take care of that. So such numericals, these are not coming in the exam, but you should practice for. So you should have practice for such numericals also. Then next topic is priming of a centrifugal pump. What do you mean by priming? Now you might have heard that we are pouring the water in a centrifugal pump. From the delivery side, there is a arrangement made for putting water inside the pump, and the pump should be completely full of water. Why it is done? Okay, this is done because the pump should be completely filled with water only, because the pump function is to carry water and not to carry air. If air is there, then whatever is the work produced by the pump will be in terms of meter of air. Okay, but we want the power to be produced in terms of meter of water. So if the volume of pipe or pump is occupied by air, then the meter of air is very much less than meter of water, and that's why you should have the pump to be filled with completely water, so that when you run the pump it will carry water. Okay, and there will be no air available in the pump. So priming of a centrifugal pump is defined as the operation in which the suction pipe, casing of the pump and portion of the delivery pipe up to the delivery wall is completely filled up from upside source or outside source with the liquid to be raised by the pump before starting the pump. Thus the air from these parts of the pump is removed and these parts are filled with the liquid to be pumped. The work done by the impeller per unit weight of liquid per second is known as the head generated by the pump. Okay, and it should be in meter of water, because the value of the impeller power is given by rho q into VW2 U2. Okay, but in terms of head it is given by VW2 U2 upon G meter. But what is that fluid? If you use the fluid as air, it will give you meter of air. If you use the fluid water, then it will be meter of water. So this equation is independent of density. This means that when the pump is running in air, the head generated is in terms of meter of air, and if the pump is primed with water, the head generated is in terms of meter of water. So but as the density of air is very low, the head generated by air is that equivalent to meter of water is very less or negligible. Hence the water will not be lift off or it will not be delivered. Hence water may not be sucked from the pump. Okay, to avoid this difficulty, priming is necessary. So priming, you remember that it is necessary for removing the air, okay, inside the pump. Okay, otherwise water will not be sucked by the pump. Okay, the next topic is the specific speed of a centrifugal pump. Now the specific speed of a turbine, if you remember the expression for specific speed, the same expression for procedure we are going to follow for centrifugal pump. So the specific speed of the turbine was n root p upon h raised to 5 by 4, if you remember the formula. While the specific speed for centrifugal pump, instead of power, there is a discharge is important term in case of centrifugal pump. So discharge is given more importance, and hence if you remember this formula, recently we have seen the formula for specific speed as n root q upon h raised to 3 by 4. H raised to 3 by 4. So here q is there and there was p. In terms of turbine there is p. Power is important. In case of centrifugal head, discharge is important. So it is n root q upon h raised to 3 by 4, not 5 by 4. So let us see the expression for specific speed of a pump. If you see there q is equal to area into velocity of flow. So it is area pi d b vf. So d is again directly proportional to b. So you can take instead of b, d. So it is all dependent on dimensional analysis. So dimensional analysis is nothing but proportionality sign. So wherever there is a proportionality sign, you can immediately replace that term with that proportional term. So if you see q will be directly proportional to d into b, means d square into vf. Vf, again vf is directly proportional to u, but u is indirectly, it is related with dn, pi dn by 60. So u is directly proportional to dn. So u is directly proportional to vf is directly proportional to root hm. So root hm is directly proportional to dn. So in short, d can be written as root hm upon n, or d is directly proportional to root hm upon n. And if you replace d with root hm upon n, you will say that q is directly proportional to hm upon n square into root h. Again vf is root h. So if you replace that, then you will get q is directly proportional to hm upon n square into root hm. Okay, vf is root hm. So you will say q is directly proportional to hm raised to 3 by 2 upon n square. So q is equal to k into hm raised to 3 by 2 upon n square, constant of proportionality. But the condition is again same, that hm is equal to 1 meter and q is equal to 1 meter cube per second, like it was power is equal to 1 kilowatt and hm is, or head is equal to 1 meter. Same condition we are going to use for producing the or for deriving the specific speed. So these conditions, if you put q is equal to 1 meter cube per second and h is equal to 1 meter, for n to be equal to ns, it will come as k upon ns square is equal to 1. So k will be equal to ns square, and if you put the value of k in this formula, q is equal to k into hm raised to 3 by 2 upon n square, you will take q is equal to ns square into hm raised to 3 by 2 upon n square. So ns square will be equal to n square q upon hm raised to 3 by 2. So ns will be equal to n root q upon hm raised to 3 by 4. So this is the formula for specific speed. So next we'll see the in detail in next lecture.